Welcome to Throw Off the Lines, the podcast where we navigate life's changes, explore new horizons, and embrace the journey. I'm your host, Stephanie York, an executive coach with a passion for charting new courses on the water and in life. Ready for some total change? Let's dive in. Hi there, and welcome to Throw Off the Lines. Today is my episode on habits, and I am so glad you're here. This is probably one of the most important foundational podcast episodes because habits have impacted my life. Habits have impacted all of my clients' lives. And you're probably listening to this because you want to hear a little bit more about habits. There's books out there about it. And I want to jump right into why this is so important and why, if you don't understand how habits are formed and what habits you have, then making real change, foundational hard changes in your life can be difficult, but understanding that it's simply a system that your body follows. And if you break up that system and change it, you are able to make almost any change in your life that you want. Is it going to be easy? No. But if you want to make a change in your life and you understand the formation of habits and what habits you already formed and how to break up that process, then you can have the life you want. It's got some discomfort in it, but boy, the rewards on the other end of being able to make better habit choices, it's immeasurable. Let me just tell you that. I've made changes in my life that have had profound differences in every aspect of my life. So let's jump in. Did you know that about half of your daily activities are driven by habits? According to a research psychologist named Wendy Wood, and I have her book down in my show notes, approximately 40 to 43% of our daily actions are driven by habits, meaning a significant portion of our day is taken up by habitual behaviors that often occur without conscious thought. And I'll say probably since she published that book and did her research, I would imagine it's up over 50%. I know that in my life, when I am on auto pilot and my brain is just functioning and I'm just chugging along and not actively trying to do the things that I've set up to change and do, I know I'm probably at over 50%. And I think I know some people who are at 70% or higher. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. If you are happy with your life and you are humming along and you've got everything that you want the way you want it, and you're on 70% habitual behaviors and subconsciously you're just going about your day, do not change. You're here if you want to know more about your habits. And if you're at 70% of automatic habits and behaviors throughout your day, but you still want to make a change, maybe you want to eat healthier or you want to stop drinking or some habit that you want to change, this podcast could help you with that. So what makes up a habit? They're automatic behaviors triggered by specific cues, and they require minimal thinking, which we kind of got that down. But why do we fall into habits? And there's a very easy scientific, well, I'm going to put it in very simple terms. Our brains want to be as efficient as possible. So if you think about habits and all living organisms, it's all about calories in and calories out. And so frequently we in the wild don't have enough calories. We're calorie deficient, or we're trying to always save calories. Our brains, being the optimization, unit system in our body, it's always trying to save processing power. And our brain is all about saving power and calories. So having a habit means it's not required to use too much energy to move through its day. It's going to want to set up habits. So be aware that you're already setting up habits. You have them whether you like them or not. And unless you're actively aware of the process, then you are just going to live that way. So your brain loves repeating sequences that are successful or rewarding. And that's why my episode on dopamine is really going to be important. If you're wanting to make changes in your behaviors, let's dig deep into why dopamine is one of the biggest rewarding issues that we have in society today. What are you being rewarded by that's causing you to have habits? And if you can figure out what that reward is and you can shift that reward, you'll be a long ways towards changing a habit that you really want to change. So a big book that hit the scene probably a decade back, I don't have the date of the publication, was Atomic Habits by James Clear. And most of the business settings where I go in and I do executive coaching or I do presentations and trainings for entire sales teams. I'll go in and talk to middle management or upper management, and we talk about Atomic Habits by James Clear. Thank goodness that came out, because it's a very, very clear understanding of habit formation. But to kind of put it down into some succinct ways to talk about it on this podcast, obviously get Atomic Habits if you like. He has very clear insights in there about habit formation and how to change. He talks about the feedback loop that has 4 steps that habits are built on. And this is really important. All habits have a cue, the trigger that initiates a habit. So if you're going to look at your habits, what triggers you to have that habit? And I'll talk about coffee in the morning. I love a cup of coffee, or sometimes 2. And in the morning, if I smell coffee, that is a cue that oftentimes it used to be hearing the percolator. I don't have that kind of drip coffee system anymore, so I don't have that happening. But if you hear a drip, or you smell a drip, or you smell coffee, I walk past a coffee place and I smell that coffee aroma, that's a cue. Hey, you want a cup of coffee? And so the cue triggers the craving. The craving is there because it's part of that processing power automatic sequence. A cue, smelling the coffee, triggers the craving. I want a cup of coffee. I desire to get a cup of coffee. So the response is I go and I act on that behavior or habit of buying a cup of coffee. I'll do this in the middle of the day when I know I'm not supposed to have caffeine, but I'll get a decaf because it's just so good. And then the reward, the benefit you gain, reinforces the cue, the craving, the response, and the reward. And all this is in the show notes. The reward so frequently is one of the most widely accepted psychoactive drugs, which is caffeine. I get more awake. I feel more alert. I'm happier. I'm up. I'm bubbly. I got that dopamine hit from that reward. So the cue, the craving, the response, and the reward. When you're looking at what habits you want to change, look at what's cueing you and what's causing the craving. What does the craving look like? What is your response? And what are you being rewarded? And then that's where you can start to look. When I want to change a habit, what is triggering me? Okay, I'm going to recognize the trigger and I'm going to have a different action to combat the craving that trigger has caused. So we'll get into that a little bit more here later on. If one stage is missing from that cue, craving, response, reward, then the habit doesn't form. And we want to focus on the missing steps. We'll just talk about the habits you have and how to work on changing them and why it's so hard to change. But if you take away the reward of that habit, which sometimes when I talk to people who want to quit drinking, they are no longer rewarded by their drinking habit. And they are being triggered and they have the craving and a very physical response to that habit. And they no longer are feeling a reward from it. And then that's when they really have to visit the trigger and the craving. And that's a whole nother conversation. Possibly I'll do an episode on helping people overcome bad habits, severe bad habits. So keep in mind, if you can interrupt one of those 4 stages, you can interrupt that habit loop and you can break that habit up. So the 4 laws of behavioral change that he also talks about in Atomic Habits provide a clear framework to build good habits and break bad ones. So make it obvious. Design your environment to highlight cues for positive habits. What that means is, I want to eat more vegetables. Design your environment to highlight cues. Cues being, okay, I want to go eat cookies or I want to eat chips. Well, if you open up your refrigerator and you have cut up vegetables, celery and carrots, I often will say, okay, I'm allowed to eat some chips, but I got to eat this little container of celery and carrot sticks, which I love. Put in other vegetables in there. You can put in green beans or pea pods or cut up red bell peppers, which are really crispy and very sweet and really yummy. So put things in your environment that highlight cues for positive habits, and that can help interrupt that cycle. Make it attractive. Use rewards or social influence to make habits appealing. I'm trying to think of something. Rewards, I'm going to go and do this thing. If I go and work out, I'm going to post on social media that I worked out. Like I love to do a rowing machine. And I'm trying to be accountable. So I'll post, hey, I did my 30-minute rowing episode today at the gym. And it's more about I'm committing to doing this rowing. So what makes it attractive? What is a reward or a social influence that makes that habit appealing? Also, make it easy. Reduce friction and simplify actions to make them more achievable. Again, if you reduce friction, every day I want to eat healthier. So Sunday night, I'm going to prepare healthy meals and healthy snacks. I'm going to put in a good 3.5, 4 hours shopping and chopping and getting everything done so that on Wednesday night, I just pull out these chopped vegetables. I pull out some chicken. I have a thing of sauce and I make a stir fry for myself. Boom. I've got vegetables. It's tasty. I made it easy. It was less friction than having to go to the store Wednesday night, chop up the vegetables Wednesday night. Take as much friction away and simplify things, and it'll make it much easier. After a week of eating healthier, you start to want to eat healthier. Make it satisfying. Reinforce habits with immediate rewards or positive outcomes. For example, if I've eaten really healthy all week, at the end of the week, maybe I'm allowing myself to buy a piece of cheesecake and I eat it Friday night or Saturday night because I ate healthy all week. Immediate reinforcements of rewards. Also, we'll talk a little bit more about the immediacy of needing a reward. But long term, we want to make sure that we're focused on interrupting the 4 step points of the cycle of habit creation. The importance of systems over goals. Goals set direction, but systems are the process that lead to progress. So I love goals. I love SMART goals. We're going to talk about it in a minute, but it's the process that leads to progress. Building effective systems to ensure consistent effort and building long-term success is the most important. So you can say, I want to lose 25 pounds, but building an effective system ensures consistent effort, and that then will lead to the success and the progress. You can want to lose the weight, but unless you've put in a system in place, and I talk a lot about that in my coaching. Sure, I want to make $1 million, but what are you doing to make that? We could dream about that and manifest that all day long. But if you're not putting yourself in a place to make that money or take the steps to building towards $100,000 first and then 200,000, you have to make goals that are achievable and then put systems in place to ensure consistent effort. And my episode on effort, I have a link to that down in the show notes as well, is all about learning how to make the effort the reward. I love to go work out because I love putting in the effort, but that took me a long time to get to. So let's jump into why are habits hard to break? Because I really want you to understand, I have people who have bad habits that have set them back, and we talk in coaching, and they say, I don't know why I can't stop doing that. I'm a smart person and I know I need to stop doing it, but I just can't. And we start talking about cut yourself some slack. Be gentle with yourself when you're trying to make a habit change. Be gentle and kind and loving. No guilt, no shame. None of that helps us change habits, and none of that helps deal with things that have happened in the past. And guilt and shame and judgment do not help you right now when you're trying to change a habit. So be gentle with yourself when you're trying to break a habit, because habits are automatic by nature. They are triggered by a subconscious cycle that's already been put in place. And for some people, it's been in place for decades. So when we're trying to change a habit, the automatic nature of it itself is why it's so difficult. They happen subconsciously, and they're often hard to notice. All of a sudden, I'm doing that thing that I didn't want to do. How did that happen? Same thing as when you're driving down the road in the freeway and you're going down I'm driving pretty fast, and 20 miles later, I do not remember the last 20 miles, because driving by nature is put on a subconscious level by our brain. We're still aware. We're still looking in our mirrors, but we're not cognizant of the mileage we just put in. We didn't see the road. We were just on autopilot. So, some of the habits I have. I wake up, time for coffee. Now the news. I look at my phone. I text triggers to do the same things. And, by the time I've gotten my coffee with all the intention of jumping right on a podcast, I will see that I've looked at my phone. I responded to a text. I let myself look at a story. An hour has gone by. And for some of my clients, their whole morning goes by. Then they're rushing into work. They sit at their desk. They're already feeling behind. There's already stress. They respond to calls and emails and texts. And then all of a sudden we're 4 hours post wake up and we're reacting to emergencies. We're putting out fires. Our body system is now on high alert. We're in fight or flight. And there's no way you can consciously be aware of habits once you're already in that mode. So the rotation of reactionary behaviors are all habits. And when we see that we've lost an hour, we can't go back and get that back. And we feel guilty. We don't know why it happened. We shame ourselves. And then we think about adding a new action. You can't, because getting focused it's already too late for your day. So when we go to change habits, they're hard to break because so often we're reacting on an emotional level, a physical level, and a subconscious level. Now, dopamine reward systems is another reason why habits are really hard to break. Dopamine reinforces habits by associating them with pleasure, and breaking long-term habits can feel uncomfortable or even painful because dopamine is a chemical that's released into our body once we've performed a certain behavior or a certain habit, and our body gets addicted to that dopamine. I mean, it can get addicted to a lot of different substances that we're releasing into our system. Breaking the dopamine cycle is very, very, very hard. It is a cycle we are currently extremely influenced by. All the algorithms on all the social media sites, the algorithms on Yahoo and MSN and Google and all your search engines, every time you log onto your computer, you are being somewhat controlled by a dopamine response system. So I have a timer set on my phone. I'm only allowed to look at social media accounts on my phone for 10 minutes and then it shuts off. And that's been really helpful. I do promote my podcast on social media. I go on there and check with some friends, but I only have 10 minutes on my phone for social media. And it has made me aware very quickly how fast I get onto social media to do something. And then my day goes by and I've done what I wanted to do, but I'm all of a sudden sucked down that rabbit hole and 10 minutes flies by and all of a sudden it's shutting off on me. And it's because I get to see my friends' dog video. I get to see something funny. I get to see a beautiful piece of art. I read a motivational quote, all great things, but none of those were helping me change the habits I want to change. And so many of us are disappointed in our lives. We're overwhelmed. We're stressed out. And social media is a dopamine response. So I can go on social media and nothing bad is happening to me. I only see pretty things. I might see something about the wildfires, or I might see something about war. And that can be something that's not necessarily a rewarding thing, but you feel engaged. You feel as though you've actually read something, you learned something, but you didn't. So be careful of that dopamine cycle. It's very, very hard to break. And again, listen to my episode on dopamine. It's going to be all about where dopamine comes in. Anyway, stress and habits. Many of us use habits as a coping mechanism for stress. Snacking, shopping, drinking alcohol, drinking coffee. I need my coffee. Man, I just need a drink. I'm so stressed out. And stress and habits work in the same way. I have stress, so I'm going to fall back on a habit. I have stress, and it's so hard to deal with stress because we have so much information coming to us every single day. So much, way too much information is coming at us. We're not processing it well. We're not feeling in control. We are overwhelmed, and we don't need to be processing that much. We just are. And the stress levels go really high. And we are getting adrenal dumps, and then we go on for dopamine dumps. So our bodies are being run by chemicals all day. And then depending on if you also don't have good eating habits, you're dumping more chemicals and processed food in there. That's controlling you. And boom, 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 stress gets higher. our heart races, our blood pressure goes up, we gain weight because our body's now in emergency survival mode. It's worried it's going to run out of calories. We've got everything in our body up on this mechanism that is creating habits to try to save us. So, man, I just need a drink. I've been so stressed today. And I've seen people who didn't have that much stress, but they've said, I really need a drink because I'm so stressed. And having a drink it'll relax you in the short term. It makes it more socially functioning, but having a drink is not lowering your stress. So habit formation and creation around stress is a big, big deal. We need to create de-stressing habits in our lives. So we'll talk about that. I'll do an episode on stress and habits as well. Environmental cues. Certain settings trigger habits. So you might sit in a meeting and, they're really hard to break, things that you have to be a part of or things that you have chosen to be a part of. Habits are really hard to break because that first step in the habit creation cycle is an environmental cue. So certain things triggering, I'm going to sit down and watch TV tonight. So I'm going to eat snacks, and I open up the bag of Cheetos, and I only meant to have a handful, but we'll talk again about processed foods as an episode I'm going to do. Cheetos have created themselves to be crunchy and dissolve and deliver sweetness and sugar and crunch. And they're easy to eat because there's nothing to them. So I'm not really full, and boy, I eat them all. So if I want to eat healthy, I cannot open the bag of Cheetos and put it on my lap. Even though I'm conscious that I've got a habit around Cheetos, I still I'm weak when it comes to those. So I can't have them. Other things, you go into a bar for happy hour. You said, I'm not going to drink during the week, but boy, you've been stressed and everybody's going over there and you really like hanging out with your coworkers and just kind of talking about the junk that's happening at work and getting it out. And you have a drink, because that environment is the cue. And so habits are really hard to break because they are triggered by environmental cues. But so some of the things are, they're automatic by nature. They are rewarded by dopamine. Stress causes more habits. And there's so many environmental cues that our subconscious habits are attached to. So let's focus on, when you know your habits are not good and you want to make a conscious change, how do we go about creating positive habits? So we want to start with a list. Start writing down what are some of the things you want to do. And you can have a list of 10 things. Oftentimes people make New Year's resolutions. They'll have a list of resolutions, but I say, let's pick one thing. Make a list of all the things you want to change, but let's pick one of them, because if you overwhelm yourself and start 10 habits, I'm going to be honest with you, it's nearly impossible to change 10 habits at once. It's so uncomfortable, and it would take so much of your mental focus. It would be exhausting, which potentially could trigger a stress cue to then go and follow your bad habits again. So another really good thing is just pick one. And then I like to set up SMART goals, knowing that goals do not motivate you very much towards changing a habit. A goal isn't as important as the system of changing that habit, but understanding, okay, I want to lose weight. Great. Let's be very smart about that. And I talk about SMART in my Change and in my Effort podcast. And SMART is an academic term that they used when I was doing my master's that talks about making a goal that is an effective goal. And I love a goal for changing a habit because it gives you the why. Why do I want to fight that cue? Why do I want to fight that trigger? Why do I want to make this change? And that can be a motivator to tie the discomfort to. Why am I willing to endure this discomfort? Because here's my goal. Here's why I want to do it. So the S in SMART stands for specific. Define what losing weight or eating better is. Let's pick eating better. What is eating better? I want to eat 3 vegetables a day. And believe me, most people are not eating 3 vegetables a day. So I want to eat better. Specific. What does it mean? I want to eat more vegetables every day. Measurable includes a clear target. 3 to 4 servings of vegetables a day. Period. That's the M in SMART. A, achievable. If you say, I want to eat 10 vegetables a day, Is that achievable? Think about it. Most people only eat the same 11 to 14 items, cycled through in their diet. And really think about how many different types of food you eat. Most people are shocked by how limited their diet is. But don't do 10. Maybe even don't do 3 to 4. Maybe do 2 vegetables a day. But make sure it's achievable. I could say I want to run a marathon. But, maybe achievable is let's start with a 5K. Let's run a 5K and then build from there. Or pick a marathon that's going to happen in a year and build up to that. Running a marathon's a big deal, and it's great to want to do that, but let's also break it down to an achievable goal at this time. Realistic. The achievable and realistic. I can't run a marathon right now, but I can train to run a 5K or a 10K. If you're in really great shape and you want to run a marathon, put that down. That's fine. If it's realistic and you can do that, that's great. But if you're trying to stretch too far for your goal, you're going to undermine yourself. And then the T is time bound. I want to add 3 vegetables to my diet by January 20th, if that's your date. Or a time bound. I'll work out 3 times a week consistently by the end of January, or I'll work out 15 times by the end of the month. And that's a measurable goal. Set up a time down the road to review your goals and say at the end of January, I'm going to look at how many times I worked out. Did I hit that 15 times a month? Okay, I'm going to revisit that goal. And by having SMART goals, we really, really understand clearly what is driving us. Why am I going to go to the gym today? Because by the end of January, I'm measuring how many times I went to the gym. And that's a goal I set up for myself. And that's going to push me past the discomfort of physically going to the gym, breaking up my routine, and changing my old habit of going home and sitting on the couch. So plan for success. Prep meals in advance, stock up on healthy foods, and remove temptations. Gradually taper off difficult habits like sugar or alcohol. Make a plan for yourself. Make a commitment to not drink during the week, and then maybe share that with a friend that's close to you and say, you know what? Or even dry January is a great one. And I think they're adding more months. I don't know. I don't follow that. But if everybody else is doing dry January, do dry January. Get a buddy to do it with you. Have somebody who holds you accountable, and then see how that habitual habit, the cue and the trigger, see how that works with you. And you'll start to see where your triggers are for drinking during the week. And with a friend, an accountability partner helps a lot. Maybe you want to eat healthier, so you are planned to do meal prep on Sunday nights, and you have all the healthy options set up. You make a shopping list. I'm going to make 6 salads. I'm going to cut up vegetables for stir fry on Tuesday and Thursday. I'm going to cut up my chicken. Everything's prepped. It is just dump and cook, and then dinner is done, and it's healthy. So plan ahead for those goals, and the plan will be part of your system, which then goes into breaking the cycle of bad habits and creating a new one. So let's go really quickly over how to break a habit. I know we just talked about setting up good ones, but I just want to go back over, because a lot of people who come to me have habits that they need to change, and they aren't even aware of some of these habits. So if you are aware of a habit that you want to change, identify that trigger. Understand the situations or emotions leading to that behavior. Think through the habit you want to break. Let's say, again, drinking during the week. Happy hour is a trigger. Maybe don't go to happy hour. Have a response ready if you do, to say, that if you do go, that says, okay, I'm not drinking during the week, or it's dry January, I'm participating in dry January, or I'm going to go and have a non-alcoholic beverage. They have lots of great mocktails all over the place. And sometimes bartenders are really excited to make mocktails. Say, I don't like a really sweet drink, but I don't want any alcohol. Do you have a creative recipe to make something? Realize that mocktails are going to cost the same as regular cocktails. But there's some amazing non-alcoholic beers out there, and worst comes to worst, get a glass of water, get really hydrated, but be aware of triggers that would cause you. I'm going to go to the office meeting, and they have a plate of donuts every single Friday when we have our meeting, and I eat 1 or 2. Instead, I know it's going to be there. I'm going to bring a nutrition bar in with me and I'm going to open that up and it's going to be a healthier choice than that donut. Or I'm going to bring in breakfast. I'm going to bring in scrambled eggs that I cooked up and I'm going to eat that. I mean, they don't care if you're eating a donut at the table. Why would they be mad if you had eggs? They don't. I've done this. I eat healthy. I don't eat processed foods. So when I go places, I'm frequently eating my own snacks. I'll have a banana and a handful of walnuts, and that is way better than that donut. That donut is going to cause me so much pain, but I had to learn that the hard way. So how to break a habit, replace with new behaviors. Swap out unhealthy habits with healthier alternatives. We just talked about mocktails. We just talked about, replacing that donut with something I bring into work and make sure, if I want to go to the gym after work and I just don't ever seem to get there, pack your gym bag the night before and put it next to the door. I had a client who really wanted to work out. She had workout equipment at home and every day she'd get up triggered by the cup of coffee and every day she would disappoint herself. So this is extreme, but it was, she was willing to do it. She would sleep in her workout clothes. So when the alarm went off, there's no more snooze. She gets up and goes right to her workout equipment and starts working out. And then after a week, she felt so good about having done it 3 times that she didn't sleep in her workout clothes anymore, but she had them next to the bed. She got up, changed into her workout clothes, went down and did her workout. And then she was getting the reward from the effort of the workout. And that made her want to keep doing it. She ended up doing it 5 days a week because it energized her and started her day off so positively that you got to do positive reinforcement. Find replacements for those new behaviors. Do whatever it takes you to do to get the system in place to change that behavior. So positive reinforcement, we have to have rewards. I feel rewarded by effort. Again, go back and listen to my episode on effort. But you got up and you worked out all week and you planned that. Great. Maybe have a good, fun meal as a reward. Maybe have a cheat meal. My favorite cheat meal is probably a baked potato, which I dump a bunch of, sour cream and butter and chives on. Just love a good baked potato. It sounds like a crazy cheat meal, but I don't eat a lot of really heavy stuff. So that's a reward for me. You didn't eat sugar all week? Treat yourself to a piece of cake. Go buy a piece of cheesecake. Don't buy the whole cheesecake because if you're like me, you'll eat the whole cheesecake. Just go buy a slice of something. Or if you're avoiding sugars altogether, take yourself to a movie and relax and watch a movie. Treat yourself. Get your self-care out. Make a list of rewards that you want to earn. I love that. So I'm working out a lot right now. And I don't like to pay for massages and things like that, although I love massages. So once I've worked out for this number of times, I get myself a massage because my body needs it because I've worked out really hard. But that's a reward I've set up and I'm dangling in front of me. Acknowledge the habit change and the new better habit. It's such an important part of feeling the reward and making that dopamine connection with the effort. And then obviously, if you're trying to break a habit, seek support. If you have a really bad habit that is very detrimental to your health, see your doctor. If you have tried to break habits and you're having a lot of problems with things from your past, which I will start coaching somebody and we will all of a sudden uncover they have a deep depression and some things are tied to trauma that's happened to them in their past. Maybe they have a disorder or something going on that is beyond my ability. Find a professional to help you with that because not all habits can be fixed. Just you on your own or you talking to me. If you're really struggling, go and find a therapist and talk to family members, talk to friends, get a confidant, and get a support system. If you have a habit that you're really trying to change, there are tons of forums out there and people who are trying to make some of the same changes that you're making. So make sure you get somebody who can partner with you in a peer support group. And then make sure that you understand that habits took decades frequently to create. So a gradual change is okay. I mean, I'm talking to you about somebody who hired me. I am their accountability partner and they wanted to make this change and they made the change in 2 weeks with the workouts and they felt so good about it. But we talked 3, 4 times during that week. As their coach, I was available for the victory. I was available for the defeat. I was available for the change. But on your own, if you want to make a change, and it's a big, big thing, start small. Be gentle with yourself. Break down big goals into manageable steps. Habit creation took a long time, but being gentle with yourself is the best way to say, oh, I didn't do it today. How am I going to recognize what the cue was? What triggered me? What did I end up doing instead? Was that good for me? Acknowledging where you didn't interrupt the cycle and you went back to the bad behavior. Oh, I ate really bad today. That doesn't mean I'm going to throw the whole week away. And it doesn't mean I'm going to beat myself up. You used to eat bad all the time. You ate bad today? That's 1 day out of 7. Let's start back at it. So break down big goals into manageable steps. Habit creation took a long time. So many people are gung-ho for their New Year's resolutions and they want to change everything and have the best year ever. And when you set yourself up so high and you don't have the system in place and you're not aware of cues that trigger you and you're not aware of cravings and you're not thinking, if you just jump in and you don't pay attention to the subconscious habits that we all have, you set yourself up for failure. So even a small change, I want to drink more water. One of my clients just was not drinking enough water. We got a sports bottle and he always has that sports bottle on him and he is drinking enough water now and he feels better and he's sleeping better. And I want to meditate for 5 minutes. I forgot to do it this morning. Shoot. Okay. At lunch, I'm going to go and sit in my car and I'm going to put on the Balance app my coach Stephanie told me to put on. And I'm going to sit there for 5 minutes and I'm going to listen to a guided meditation. Meditation is so powerful. It is so we talk about habits being subconscious and automatic behaviors. Meditating is a mindfulness practice and it makes you very present, and learning how to calm your brain down and kick out bad thoughts is a great way to change subconscious behaviors. So start by making the change for you that leads to a feeling of success and a positive psychology around that change. That's how you're going to make it. Next thing you know, you add these changes up and you've made 10 small changes in the course of 5 weeks. And now you're a different person. Little by little, you make healthier habits and they stick. And then this can transform your whole life, one small purposeful change at a time. Because every time you're able to make a change, you feel proud of yourself. You have accomplished something you committed to doing on your own. And that internal reward system, that feeling of accomplishment is immeasurable and so, so important. So James Clear in the Atomic Habits talks about what is the role of identity in habit change. And this is a very, very important thing. True habit change comes from a shift in identity. Instead of focusing on the outcome of it, I'm going to lose weight and then everybody's going to think that I'm fabulous, or people are going to find me more attractive. I'm going to like myself more. And instead of focusing on that outcome, focus on becoming the kind of person who embodies the habit you want. I'm going to lose weight. No. Say to yourself, I am a healthy person. I often thought of myself as just somebody who loved to go to the gym. I like outdoorsy things, but I'm kind of a smaller woman. And I would have people undermine me when I wanted to go do things. Well, I wanted to go racing sailboats on the ocean. And I'd have people look at me and they'd say, well, you can't do that. Or you don't have any idea how hard that is. And instead of listening to them, I went to the gym and I started working out. And I said, I want to be an athlete. And no, I changed that verbiage. I am an athlete. I am an athlete. I am physically strong. I always work on my physicality. I'm always working to do things so that I can go out and race on a sailboat if I want. I can go climb that hill and take that hike. I am an athlete. I am a healthy person. So change the role of identity in your own life. I eat healthy. I am a healthy person. A healthy person has healthy habits. So embrace that. And your motivation and mindset also have a lot to do with embracing discomfort. Change is challenging, but very, very rewarding. So understand you're going to come up against discomfort. And I'm going to tell you, in our society, Everything everybody does is to be as comfortable as possible. I see so many memes and so many posts on Instagram and TikTok about people saying, this is the life, and they're just sitting doing nothing. Or I can't wait to float down a river on an inner tube with beers. And that's great. Yeah. If that's rewarding to you, that's great. But everything we do, including our brain's reward system, is to lead us towards comfort. Change is discomfort. You have to embrace the fact that I'm going to have to push myself to go to the gym until the gym feels like a reward, until that effort feels like a reward. And knowing that you're going to have some discomfort, fight against it. You're going to have, when you go to the gym a lot, and I still have this, people are going to say, why do you do that? Why do you push yourself so hard? Why do you work out so hard? Why don't you eat sugar? Oh, you're stronger than I am. So much negativity comes at me from people. I don't even think they're aware that they're saying it. So often, I've had people say to me, when I say I don't drink, they've said, oh, you can't, I couldn't give up my wine. I couldn't do that. That is, and it comes out so quickly. They are telling themselves, I couldn't stop drinking. They're saying, oh, I couldn't quit eating sugar. You're stronger than I am. Wow. They just said those things to themselves. So focus on progress, not perfection. So I just went back to, okay, I want to eat 3 or 4 vegetables a day. At the end of the week, and it's Sunday night and I'm prepping again, look at your refrigerator. Did I eat all my vegetables? Maybe I didn't. What did I do? What happened? What caused, what cue or trigger, positive cue or trigger did I not follow? What negative cue or trigger did I follow? Remember, be gentle. It's about progress. Did I eat more vegetables than I ate the week before because I had a plan in place? Great. I didn't do it perfect. Did I go to the gym twice this week instead of the 3 times I wanted? Did I work out 4 instead of 5? That's okay. You made progress. Every single thing counts. I even tell my people who really desperately want to work out more, go to the gym. You get a point if you drive to the gym. And you did that thing. You parked in the parking lot, you looked at the building, you went home. You still get points for that because that's still discomfort. Drive to the gym, go in the gym, look at the equipment, get on the treadmill, walk for 5 minutes, go home. That's another point. You get points for that. You forced yourself through discomfort. So if you get in there and you're on the treadmill and you say, okay, I did 5 minutes, because this happens to me now. Even though I work out and I'm an athlete, there are days I go in and I'm like, I can't do this today. I showed up. But maybe when you're there, then you'll go, okay, I'm going to go lift 2 machines. And I'll do 5 more minutes on the treadmill. Well, slowly but surely, if you go and you face that discomfort, you do make that change. So focus on your progress and not your perfection and just keep trying. That's huge. If you failed, you didn't hit the goal you wanted, keep trying because habits will keep forming with persistence. Understand your why. And remember, breaking habits is challenging because many habits are deeply rooted in our brain's neural pathways. We've built these super highways to that particular habit that you have. And your behavioral patterns, everything are on automatic and subconscious that lead you to that behavior. So what I want you to listen to brain plasticity. I have a podcast on that and understanding that neuroplasticity and habit formation is a real thing. So understand that a lot of your discomfort is coming from, you went off the highway. That highway has 4 lanes and they're all going in the same direction towards that habit. And you just kind of got a machete out and started hacking a new path. You're going this way. And that path is full of trees and bushes. And you know what? As soon as you mark the path and you go down that path, and you get off the highway, you have made a path. Next time you're going to go, I'm going to drive to the gym and I'm going to go into the gym. Okay, now that you're starting to get sand on the path and the trees aren't growing back over it again, so you don't have to machete it out. And then the next time you go 3 times next week, well, that footpath has gotten wider now and the stuff is pushed back from it. And next thing you know, you're jogging down that path. You're excited to go to the gym. And weeds are popping up on the superhighway. And maybe the concrete is crumbling. That superhighway is still over there. Be aware that path can open back up for you pretty easily. You got to fight to get this new path that you macheted clear. You want to become an athlete? You go and you become an athlete and you keep putting the rucksack on, you get to the gym and you do your things. But understanding that there's some discomfort for this. So, new habits, just start small, work out 5 minutes instead of an hour, anchor an habit to another habit, like start flossing more. You want to do that? Okay. Have the floss sitting next to the toothbrush. You brush your teeth, start to floss. Make it attached to another habit. Workout clothes next to the bed, gym bag next to the door. Make it easy. Eating healthy. I always have a really good nutrition bar in my purse because I often will forget to eat meals or I'm running around. Pull that out. Start small. Just make sure you plan and you have stuff in place in order to fight the cues and the triggers. If you can break one step in that 4-step process, you can break a habit. So I want to reiterate that I'm going to have some more episodes coming up on what I just mentioned, the brain plasticity or neuroplasticity and how to keep it fresh. Dopamine addiction, again, it's the core of habit creation and why habits are so hard to break. It's that dopamine addiction and the fact that a lot of our habits, over 50% of our day, is led by an addiction to the dopamine response. Oh, I saw somebody gave me a notification, but I want you to pay attention to your social media notifications. It used to be that a notification was somebody liked your post or somebody responded to you and sent you a message. And now, more than 90% of the time, those notifications, because they know you love those, you click on it and it's, oh, this post came in this group you might like, and it has nothing to do, but you're still clicking on it because we've been programmed to want the likes. And then when we click on the likes, they lead us down a different rabbit hole that the algorithm wants us to go down. So anyways, I'm getting off on a tangent. I'm going to have another podcast about optimizing health. I'm thinking about putting a podcast out about my own exercise, what I do and how I got to where I am, being at my age and able to do the things I do, just some of the pitfalls that I came across and some of the ways I fought through. Another one's going to be on our perception versus other people's perspectives. And I've gone over a lot. There's all the notes down in the show notes about Atomic Habits by James Clear, Good Habits, Bad Habits by Wendy Woods. The Science of Making and Breaking Habits is a podcast with Andrew Huberman. I love him. He's a neuroscientist who really digs deep into some of these topics. And then my episode on embracing change, navigating life's transitions, as well as my episode on effort. The one on effort I really love because I feel like I love and embrace effort. Effort is my dopamine response. So I really hope that you got something out of our podcast today. And please, please, please let me know if you have questions or, I'm open to send me a message. If you are having a habit in your life that you need to change, I'd be happy to jump on and talk to you and give you suggestions. I have spreadsheets. I have worksheets. I have all kinds of things that I use with my clients. I'll happily give that to you for free. So let me know. And otherwise, thanks so much for spending time with me today. I really appreciate you listening. I really, really do. And this is my passion project. This gives me purpose. And if it wasn't for somebody listening to it, I might not be doing it, but I appreciate it. And I really want you to have a total day. Take care. Thank you for joining me on Throw Off the Lines. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe for future episodes and extras, and leave a review, share it with someone who needs a total inspiration. You can also find us on Facebook or Instagram and our Throw Off the Lines website. If you want to be a guest or have questions for the host, sign up on the website and we'll get back to you. Until next time, throw off those lines and live your best life.